keeping it on the same plane, like MIA. All I want to do is take your money. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Race and Wealth and Hindsight, or Hindsight, brought to you by Race and Wealth. We're the podcast guys. I'm Dyalekt, this Dedrick, and today we want to talk a little bit about some hip hop. Is that cool? We talk about hip hop.
We can do that.
I'm a hip hop cat. An indie hip hop MC for mad years, and I'm old school. We old school.
Definitely old school.
We grew up on like your Rakim and your Gangstar, and one of my favorite things about hip hop is people say it's the voice of the streets, but it's about people who have the least being able to do the most. It's an important and powerful thing. And one thing that sucked to me is ever since like the Puffy era and all that,
which was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Okay.
And I don't want to blame like Puff in particular, but like that era and that time period, I feel like it lost a lot of its connection to the people who have the least, to the poorest folk, to the folks who have the needs. And I think a lot of these rappers these days, it's like they're just kind of singing about it's like love songs or like just like whatever they want to talk about. And I don't really understand like who are the cats that like actually.
Well, there's one guy that has gotten me back into contemporary hip hop. I kind of just follow him.
Oh, let me find out who is the guy that got you back into contemporary hip hop.
As he calls himself, the King of New York, 6ix9ine.
I thought the King of New York was LeBron James. Man, 6ix9ine? Really? All right.
And I'm not declaring him the King of New York. He declares himself the King of New York.
So the light-skinned dude with the wild hair.
Yes.
Now, mind you, ain't nothing wrong with the super pale light-skinned brothers talking about stuff because,
Yes.
But so
he makes us look dark.
But 6ix9ine, but why though?
6ix9ine, I mean, one, it's like a fascinating story over the last 9 months, how he kind of in the true way of hip-hop, from the outside, not through a major record deal, through this kind of new way of self-promotion, of complete self-promotion, has become the most dominant force. And I mean, like, he released a single a few days ago, and now it's 20 million hits on YouTube.
Yeah, he's large. He's large. I can't deny.
And what I appreciate about him is he brought back the street video, right? Where the video is the entire neighborhood coming out and having a good time. It wasn't professional dancers. It wasn't big budget stuff. It was him in the street with a whole bunch of dudes, oftentimes bloods, showing different ways to have a good time. Now, I get there's a lot of like negative aspects to it, but that kind of rebellion to authority, one of his videos, he gets arrested, like for real. Like he's really getting arrested.
He's really getting arrested in his own video. I thought that was staged.
No. He was booked. He was taken in because he doesn't get permits. He just goes into like the subway. His dudes, 50 dudes, rush the subway, and they're having, a good time dancing.
I'm with that. So like, homeboy's rebellious. He got his Pac to him. He got his Schmurda to him, and all that stuff. But like, what does really matter about his stuff? How's this connected to the racial wealth divide?
Well, okay, yes. I mean, I think it is fascinating that this dude who looks white with rainbow color hair and Skittles teeth can be embraced by the streets, can be embraced by the bloods. And I think it's interesting. I've never heard of actually. He's half Mexican, half Puerto Rican, a Mexican rapper getting this much prominence. And he's really representing kind of that, urban, poor, disenfranchised. And I think it says a lot about racial economic inequality, in that blacks and Latinos are much more similar than people understand in terms of income. They have much more similar income. Black median income is like $36,000. Latino median income is about $40,000. In terms of wealth, blacks usually have had higher median wealth, though most recently median wealth for Latinos is now about $6,000 median wealth. For blacks, it's around $3,500, but for whites, it's $140,000.
Right.
And so I think his emergence really shows a real socioeconomic connection that does exist, that's now been put out on the pop waves. And it's interesting to me, too, that he's able to get away with saying the N-word and all these things. And there's not a peep from the streets because people really believe he's connected to this group.
Well, a lot of Latino or Latinx cats, they've been allowed or given that word as a part and parcel of the type of struggle that we all kind of be in together. Now that he's the only Mexican rapper, shout out to 2Mex and all them dope cats.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not a political rapper and things like that, but I do think it's interesting to see, what he's been able to do, the way he's been able to kind of, come to the forefront of hip hop today and bring back a street element that in many ways has been missing. And kind of like a Tupac, he is constantly getting in trouble, getting arrested, and is living the life in some ways of those who are disenfranchised, meaning always in trouble with the law, life always being threatened, and, recently got assaulted. So I think it shows the kind of the challenges of those who are economic disenfranchised, what it really means in real life.
Yeah, and the Pac thing is a perfect example. I mean, Pac is like the great microcosm for like people of color in America and hip hoppers and artists in general. You start off abrasive and terrifying, Then later you define an objective and perspective, and after that you finally come to some kind of conclusion. Unfortunately for Pac, it ended with a gunshot, and hopefully it doesn't end up the same. So hopefully 6ix9ine and the rest of these cats can get some hindsight, right?
Definitely need
Check,
some hindsight.
check y'all next time. Peace.